Derick Giwner along with Matt Rose here at DRF headquarters to talk about the harness spotlight for April the 21st. We have two big stakes finals, the first two big stakes of the year, the Blue Chip Matchmaker final for the ladies, pacing ladies, and the George Martin Levy final. We've been doing this for 5 weeks. Hard to believe we're in week number 6.
Time flies, I'll tell you. I can't believe we went through 5 preliminaries already for both of these series, and we're talking about the 2 lucrative finals now. It seemed like 5 minutes ago we were discussing, you know, who's nominated to these series, and now boom, here we are in the final.
We had some nice fifth leg action. Some horses jumped into the finals out of nowhere, and I think Celibate might have been one of them, and she's in the Blue Chip Matchmaker. We're going to take a look at that race. It's race number 9 on the Yonkers program on Saturday night. And obviously, Chartenen, despite her issues last week, is going to be the favorite here, but the field shakes out pretty nicely.
Yeah, listen, aside from last week where she was galloping in a few spots on the track, she was super in the first 3, in her first 3 Blue Chip efforts. Odds on, won comfortably. Listen, everyone's going to be a little nervous about that break, the breaks last week out of nowhere.
Let's take a look at that.
She's still the horse to beat here, though.
Why don't we take a look at that video from last week and see what happened with her, and you're going to see she's behind the gate here, and she's going to make a little break.
Boom! Just takes a misstep. I understood the connections. They said they came out of the race fine. They don't know
Supposedly
why.
She's a little fiery behind the gate maybe, and that could have been the issue. But you see she got right back on here. But what concerns me somewhat, I mean, that break I really wasn't bothered by at all. But you're going to see
you would be if you bet her at 1 to 5.
Maybe,
but that's beside the
but
point.
you're going to see she's going to come into the picture. She's on the outside here, number 4 it looks like, and she's going to do it again.
Yeah,
it looks like Timmy's having a little trouble with her. She fighting him a little bit, maybe.
How many times do we see horses, especially pacers, that break stride out of the blue, and then they catch it, get back in the race, and then they just break again in the same spot? I think we've seen that countless times in the past. It's almost
in the
like
stretch,
contagious.
she was absolutely fine. I mean, she shows no issues here in the stretch. She's at the back.
You'll see her in the picture. There's no reason for Derick to do anything else other than just pace home with her. You know what? She's been I think she's been 1 to 5 or 2 to 5 in all 4 series starts. She's going to be my top pick here, almost by default from the spot that she lands in. I'm going to assume it's just a fluke. They're going to calm her down or make an equipment change, do whatever they need to do. And in a race where just nothing else here stands out to me. I know it's not going out on that much of a limb, but if she just brings anything close to her normal effort, I don't see anybody beating her.
I really was. I was looking through this field trying to find someone to beat her, and I can't put my finger on which the horse is going to be. I'm not in love with any of them. I put my price at even money. I feel like if she's even money or higher, I could take a shot.
You're not going to get even money.
If she's under even money, I can't play her here.
In the interest of full disclosure, Peter Tritton's mare Mackenzie A, who did not make the final, she came up a little short. Probably missed making the final by like a neck last week or something like that. The way the points would have shaped, she would have been my selection in this race regardless of where she drew. Unfortunately, she didn't make the final, and I have to land on Chartenen. Nothing else has impressed me at all in this series, and she draws the rail. And Derick, you have to assume the break is not going to be an issue whatsoever, or her breaking last week. It's just going to run a normal race. I don't see anybody good enough, or sharp enough, or talented enough to beat her.
If I played something else in this race, these are the 2 horses, and these are 2 bombs. First, Lakeisha Hall. Can I pull it off again like another evening of pleasure, 90 to 1 from the outside? We saw 4 or 5 starts back. She left in 26 and 1.
Yeah, that was
that was speed.
That race where she ran second to Mackenzie that night where she went 26 and 1, and then still had finishing pace to run second, really impressed me. That's why I've been on board with her the last few starts. Tough spot from post 8. I know she has the early speed, but
I think quite a few in here are going to be, a little hesitant to leave, because if she's a little hot behind the gate, Chartenen, and Timmy has to gun her out of there, I don't think anyone's going to want to go after her.
The other option that Tim Derick has is to relax early, let Celibate maybe cross over, Medusa can leave. We know Lady Shadow, we know the story there. We know Lakeisha Hall might be able to leave. We've seen Twinkle leave, and she might be a big price in this race. And then maybe Derick, does he quarter move with the mare? It's a tough spot. I can't blame Brennan for leaving from the outside. You're going for $373,000, but like you said, there's a lot of speed here.
That leads me to my other bomb, Dude's a Lady.
Okay.
You're saying there's so much speed in there. She looked really good last week. Mares tend to form, get into a cycle form. They'll run off a couple wins in a row. Maybe there's a ton of speed, and she can come from off the pace and get into the number at a price. So those are my two value. If I'm looking for some value, it's Dudes a Lady number 6, the 8 with Keisha Hall. They're both going to be really big prices. I think Sharton probably wins if she shows up.
If she shows up, she wins. I think she's still going to be 3 to 5. I think getting anything over even money is a pipe dream. I'm going to play cold exacta. We talked all series about Lady Shadow, how disappointing she's been. But then you look at her lines, it's not all that bad. And listen, this is a spot where they need to, the connections need to recoup a lot of that, the big purchase price. I thought she was better last week despite getting beat. I thought she dug in pretty gamely to hold on for a second in that crazy scrum at the wire. She might be coming, she might be cycling into form and get a big chunk of this. So I'll go cold exacta Sharton over Lady Shadow.
Two weak votes of confidence for Sharton in the 9th race, $373,000 blue chip matchmaker. We're going to move on to race number 10. It's the $532,000 George Morton Levy final for the older pacers. Really, you got 8 horses on the gate, and I would say 7 I feel confident can win this race. I'm not so sure Rock and Ron can pull it off from post 8.
Listen, Rock and Ron, I mean, she looked great in the first 3 legs of the Levy. Then came up very short and then missed a week, and now he's got the 8-hole. So I guess if you're a Rock and Ron fan, you're going to get a huge price. Unfortunate for those connections to get the 8 post. What a heck of a race! I mean, like you said, you can make a legitimate case for 7 of the 8 horses here. We talked off camera about who the favorite's going to be. I don't even know who the favorite's going to be in this race.
I feel it's Dr. J. Hanover here. To me, when I was doing my morning line, I have Dr. J. Hanover 5 to 2. I went Western Fame 7 to 2. They have him as 7 to 1. I think that's crazy. Keystone Velocity 4 to 1. So that's I looked at it as 2-1-3. Okay. They got it as what 3-2-5. 3-2-6. Excuse me. 3-6-2.
Let's try it again.
3-6-2. My morning line, I have Makitso at 20 to 1.
The point is, you know what? This is a great betting race. I can't imagine any horse is going to be lower than 2 to 1 in this race. And how often can you say in a big stakes final, especially for age pacers, you're going to have a race where there's no favorite. There's no standout favorite. Like I said, if I was doing a morning line, I wouldn't even know to make a favorite. If I couldn't even tell you right now who's going to be the favorite.
Let's take a look at some video from last week. We're going to take a look at a race with Dr. J. Hanover, Bit of a Legend. Bit of a Legend is actually last on the outside here right now. You can pick it up.
All right. Well, first of all, take your Dramamine and strap in here. We'll try to follow the action. As a very strangely run race, and you said Dr. J. Hanover, we all thought was going to be on the lead. Ended up having to come from off the pace, and you see Killer Martini, who didn't make the final.
He's number 5 here, Dr. J. Hanover.
Bit of a Legend does what Bit of a Legend does. No matter where he is, he always paces home. You know what you're going to get. If he's anywhere within striking range, he's going to pace home. He never, ever puts in a bad effort. And you know what's amazing? Unfortunately, you drew outside. You might get double-digit odds here on this horse if you stick on the Bit of a Legend bandwagon.
It's really hard to try to figure out the pace in this race. I mean, you have so many horses that could potentially leave. I'm of the opinion that with so much speed inside, I think all the horses inside, Western Fame, Dr. J. Hanover, Keystone Velocity, even the push, they could all be gunning off the gate.
This is kind of why I don't like the inside horses here particularly.
Without the passing lane, you got to assume whoever ends up getting the lead, they're going to be quick to pull. No one's sitting at 3-hole here for 532,000. Everyone's going to be pulling.
I'll tell you,
there's going to be action.
Nobody
in this
even
race.
is going to want to sit a pocket probably.
This isn't going to be one of those races where they crawl to the half. They just can't, because you're sitting 3rd, you get locked in. That's it. Your race is over.
And this is
you
why
give up your purse.
Staring at this race, trying to figure out what the heck to do here. I'm going to land on what I imagine are going to be closers in this race, and I'm going to land on somewhere in LA. And Bit of a Legend, I think I'm going to use for prices in my top 2. I don't know what to expect from all this inside speed. He said Western Fame, Mark McDonald's got to leave 100 to protect. Dr. J. Hanover, can he step over Western Fame? I don't know. And then where does he end up? Keystone Velocity, who snuck right into the final here. We saw him in last year's final when he won. Dan Dubé revved him up early and fired out with good early speed. Even a Pledger can leave a ton. Which leaves somewhere in LA, Makitso, Bit of a Legend, probably can't really leave the gates. But I looked at this race, and I'm going to hope that there's a lot of action, a lot of flow, and I'm going to look for someone in LA potentially off the pace, and Bit of a Legend definitely off the pace here.
I think it's just a race where there's so many possibilities. There's no sense trying to trip handicap this race. I think you got to use your gut a little bit, and my gut tells me that Bit of a Legend is going to be one, he's going to be a good price. Two, he couldn't be any sharper. I mean, that effort last week was spectacular. The week before, he beat a field he was supposed to beat. He's doing everything right. We've seen he could take plenty of air. I kind of go back to the Garrity last year. We kind of swept the field from the back.
Kind of swept the field. He did at like 15 to 1 or something
and
like that.
That's kind of what I see from this guy. You know, he can go out there week after week. He could take some air. He can rally from behind, and I think there's going to be enough action to set him up, and that's where I'm going. I really do like Western Fame as well from the inside. I'm not going to pick two horses, but if he's a good price, you know, maybe I'll throw him in somewhere on the ticket. I just feel like he's a different horse this year.
He is a different horse, but you know what? How does he not get jammed up in traffic here from this spot?
I think he probably, there's the possibility that a couple other horses leave. He comes away third, tries to brush. You know, there are possibilities.
I look at this, I say, let's say he just goes an all-out assault to try to cut the mile, which he hasn't done. He's kind of tripped out in every leg of the Levy. If he cuts the mile, he's probably going to face harsh pressure. If he yields to one, he might be jammed in the pocket, and then you got to figure that there's not. There's going to be someone alongside. There's going to be action turning for home, and a pocket sitter might get trapped in. If he gets away third, if he can't brush and has to come first up, he's going to be setting up.
That's the thing about this race. There are so many possible outcomes and ways things can happen. I can't look at this race and say for sure Western Fame's going to get a bad trip. Does it seem like there's a couple possibilities where he could? Yeah, definitely. But I think you're going to get 6 to 1 or 5 to 1. You get a reasonable price. I think most of the horses in this race you're going to get a reasonable price. I don't think the favorite's going to be less than 2 to 1 in this race.
That's what I said earlier. It's how remarkable is it that we should have a race where the favorite is 2 to 1 or higher.
Should be a great race to watch. It's Saturday night at Yonkers Raceway. It's race number 10, $532,000 on the line for the Levy. I'm sure you'll join us. We'll both go in with some Bit of a Legend. He likes him with somewhere in LA.
I'm 5. I'm Bit of a Legend's on all of my tickets, guaranteed somewhere. I think my top selection is actually going to be somewhere in LA. He might. We know he can come from what we toss out last week's race where he just never got involved. He's been super since coming back. You know he's versatile, and he might have a slight tactical edge. Maybe have first run on what will be a late closing Bit of a Legend, and I will go with someone in LA at. Again, could be 4 to 1, 5 to 1.
Number 5, somewhere in LA. Number 7, Bit of a Legend. Good luck.